Good evening, my fellow competitors. Mr. Beast here again with an update on our league to talk about where we're at now. We're 3/4 of the way. We only have 2 games left, and I just wanted to give a quick update on where I see things and how I see things shaking out here as we approach the playoffs. So I'm going to start by congratulating 5 teams: Mr. Yunt, Mr. Beasts, Green Machine, Koalas, and Rye Bread. You have all qualified for the 2021 playoffs, and we'll have a shot at bringing this trophy home. So those are the 5 teams that have qualified, and we also have 5 teams still in the running with Misfits, Mike Vick in the Box, Krispy Kreme's, Hero Dynasty Deserves, and Madden's Ultimate Team still with a playoff shot. So I wanted to talk about those guys as well. And of course, Mun Dynasty and DC's will not be qualifying for the playoffs this year. So I'm going to start by talking about the top 5 that have already gotten in, and kind of talk about what, the only thing that really needs to be decided there is seeding and kind of where I see things going for there. So I'll go from top down what I see. Number 1, Mr. Yunt, I believe, is going to hold on to that number 1 seed. His team is putting up constant regular points, and I don't see that slowing down for any reason. He's even got an injury to Deebo Samuel, but will be replacing him with Alexander Mattison, who's going to be filling in for Dalvin Cook while he's out. So he shouldn't lose too many points with that Deebo injury. And his last 2 games, he's playing Rye Bread and Madden's Ultimate Team, who he's consistently outscoring. So I don't see any reason why he wouldn't win his last 2 games, end the season with 12 wins, which will secure him at the 1 seed. So well-deserved, Patrick. Number 2 seed is kind of a toss-up. I think I see a couple of things happening. I see it between the Green Machine and Mr. Beast. And I'll start with Mr. Beast myself on how I could get there. I am the number 2 seed currently, but I have got a couple of things going on. Number 1, I have a team like a lot of other teams that's kind of getting weakened a little bit, and I'm playing some players that aren't necessarily fantasy studs. I had put up 165 or something last week, which I thought was pretty good, but that was with some players producing that you're not going to regularly see producing. Odell Beckham Jr., that Dontrell Hilliard. Those are the guys I'm counting on, and I don't see that handling or continuing. So I kind of see myself in my last 2 matchups, Heroes Dynasty Deserves and the DCs. I see myself losing to the Heroes this week and then beating the DCs and ending the season with 10 wins. And that might be good enough for the 2 seed. And here's why I think the Green Machine has an opportunity to take it from me, in that the Green Machine has a game against the Vegas Koalas and Mun Dynasty. I think they've got a win already wrapped up, which would be their 9th with Mun Dynasty. The big question is can they beat Vegas Koalas? That game, to me, is a toss-up. So if Alex can win that game, I can see Alex getting 10 wins. He has outscored me by over 100 or around 100 points. I don't see me catching up those 100 points to taking that 2 seed away from me. So if Alex wins his last 2, he'll grab the number 2 seed. And if he loses to the Koalas, which actually would help me out, then I can grab the number 2 seed. So I kind of see that number 2 seed coming down to either being Alex or Mr. Beast, and it all kind of goes off of the Koalas Green Machine. Now, some people might say, well, what about the Koalas? Why don't they grab the number 2? And the Koalas, I can see, because they could get to 10 wins if they win their last 2 games. The Koalas have to play the Green Machine, and then the Heroes Dynasty Deserves. Like 2 winnable games, the way they're scoring. They've been pretty consistent scoring. Their problem will be that I believe I will be at 10 wins because I've got 9, and I can't see myself losing to the DCs. And it will come down to the tiebreaker, and I'm up 90 points on him right now. So he would have to win his last 2 and outscore me by 90. And if that happens, well, then he's in. He'll get the number 2 seed. But if he beats Green Machine and then wins his last game, he still has to pick up 90 points, and I don't see that happening to me. So we'll see what happens if he could squeeze it out. But I think it's going to be either Alex or Mr. Beast for the number 2 seed. All right, and then there's Rybread, who also has 8 wins right now. Rybread could win their last 2 games. They're playing Mr. Yunt and Krispy Kremes, but he is way behind in points. So he would have to have all of the Beasts, Green Machine, and Koalas not have 10 wins pretty much to get that number 2 slot. And because they're not going to make up the 200 plus points that they're behind. So I don't see them getting that 2 slot. So anyways, that's kind of my prediction. Mr. Yunt will take number 1. Depending on the Green Machine Koalas game will determine number 2. And then 3 will be the loser of that Mr. Beast Green Machine battle for the number 2 slot. I think Koalas will take number 4. And Rybread will be number 5. That's my prediction. All right, now let's talk about the teams that are on the bubble trying to get in. And I think the front runner for taking that last spot is Mike Vick in the Box. And I will tell you why that is. First of all, Mike Vick in the Box has 2 games left. He's got Madden's Ultimate Team, which is not putting up points right now, so I don't see them losing to that team. And then that comes down to the last game of the season, which will be for that playoff berth, which will be against the Misfits. And the winner of that game, I believe, takes the number 6 slot. But I'll get to that in a minute. The other team that I see that actually has a chance is Heroes Dynasty Deserves. But I don't see a possible way for Krispy Kremes or Madden's Ultimate Team getting in. And here's how here's what I'll say about that. So first of all, let's talk about the team that does have 6 wins, which is the Misfits. They have a game right now against Mun Dynasty, which I can't see them losing. So I'm going to put them at 7 wins, which will put them into at least a tie with one of the other teams at the end of the season. And then it comes down to tiebreakers. And here's the reason why I think Mike Vick in the Box can actually do it. Mike Vick in the Box plays Misfits, which would keep them from getting their 8th win, and which would tie them. And currently Mike Vick in the Box has outscored Misfits by 130, 125 points. So I don't see Cody, getting that 1 win and outscoring Mike Vick in the Box by 125 and getting in. So I like Mike Vick in the Box's chances because I like them getting a win over Madden's team and then the Misfits for the win. I also want to say on that last game of the season, the Misfits versus Cody's team, Cody is now going to be without Dalvin Cook, at least for probably for a couple weeks. And so that kind of hurts him scoring wise. Mike Vick in the Box has been outscoring Cody recently, and I think that trend continues, and that's why I put him in the playoffs. All right, now let's talk about Heroes. Heroes has a chance. Heroes needs to win their last 2. I think they have a good shot against Mr. Beast. Again, Mr. Beast is kind of sporadic right now. I'm going to be missing Devontae Adams for the week, and so that takes one of my surefire scores. I could be on a down week scoring wise, and Heroes could take advantage of that. And then Heroes has the Vegas Koalas, who the Vegas Koalas have been outscoring them lately, so that would be a tough victory for the Heroes to get, but not undoable. And if they do it, it means they're putting up points. And so here's where I see them having the chance. If they could win those 2 games, put them at 7, that whole Mike Vick and Misfits thing goes the way I think, those 2 teams could be at 7. Right now, Heroes is, I've got them at, what is that, about 67 points behind Mike Vick in the box. So they would have to win their last 2 games, outscore Mike Vick in the box by 67, and then they could have a shot to get in. So that would be, outscore them by 40 one week, by 30 another week. So Heroes has a shot. However, they have to score. And that team, when you look at it on paper, it is very capable of scoring. They're missing Swift most likely this week, which is kind of a big hurt, but you never know. They could have those 30-point breakouts from several of their players, and that's what they need. So Heroes has that outside shot, although it's slim to grab that spot. All right, Krispy Kremes, I don't like them getting in. They really needed to win their game the other night. They fell 3 points short, and it didn't happen. They're way behind in points scored, so even if they get to 7 wins, chances are they're not going to outscore one of the other teams that has 7 points. And their last 2 games for the Krispy Kremes, the DC's got to give them a win there. And then it comes down to them against Rye Bread. Could be a must win. This team has exploded for 160 plus points on some weeks. That's what it would take, but the chances are slim. And then there's Madden's Ultimate Team, and they are playing Mike Vick in the box and Mr. Yunt, and I don't see them winning both of those. Because you can just see how they've been struggling to find players to fill in all their spots to get some points scored. And I think that's going to continue. They've got injuries to their best players that doesn't allow them to put up those 170s, 180s. So it's pretty dismal for Madden's Ultimate Team. I could actually see them losing their last 2 games and finishing 10th in the league. So we'll see what happens there. But anyways, currently my prediction for that number 6 spot is going to Mike Vick in the box, followed by Cody, followed by Heroes. That's how I see that. All right, and then there's Mon and DC's, who I think lose both their last 2 games, and that's how the season will wrap up. So again, a recap. What I see happening, I'm going to make a call on this. I'm going to say Mr. Yunt is number 1. I have a feeling that the Green Machine is going to bounce back, even though I would like them to lose to the Koalas this week. That would, I think, give me the number 2 slot. I see Green Machine bouncing back, taking their game against the Koalas this week, and then beating Mun and taking the number 2 slot. I see Mr. Beast by tiebreaker points holding on to the number 3 slot. Actually, I would have the win, so I would take the number 3. I see Koalas taking the number 4 slot, Rye Bread taking the number 5 slot, and then Mike Vick in the box taking number 6, which would leave a game of Mike Vick in the box versus the Beasts in round 1, which that didn't go well for the Beasts last time. I don't like that. And it would be Rye Bread and Koalas, a nice little rivalry going on for the other qualifier. So we'll see what happens. Good luck to everyone again this week. We'll see how it all plays out. Have a good night.